Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm kicking off my spring DIY season, and I'm starting off with my top 10 spring DIYs. So these videos are put together so they might not be in the right order and some stuff might be a little off, but bear with me, you will love what I have to share. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Sonia. If you're brand new, I'm so glad you made it to my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. In this video I will be doing a DIY from mostly materials are from dollar store. Well, actually they're all from the dollar store. Some are from Dollar Tree and some are from Dollarama, and I will be making a farmhouse inspired floral arrangement, so come along. The supplies that you will be needing for this DIY are a tin from a dollar store. This is actually from the Dollar Tree. Some different florals from Dollar Tree. So I will be using these lavenders. Then I have a whole bunch that were left over from last year, and some of the new ones that I picked up from Dollar Tree this year. And then I have some green leaves as fillers. You will need a good glue gun and glue sticks. And I'm also using this jute rope from Dollarama. And the floral foam to go right in there. So let's get started. So first thing that I'm gonna do is I am going to glue this rope around it. I think I have enough room for one more. I think it turned out pretty nice. Going to put that, and now I'm going to arrange flowers, cut them down, and just kind of play around with it until I achieve the desired look. it's all done. This was super easy, very inexpensive way to add a nice little spring centerpiece to your decor. So let me show you a closer look. I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing showing through down to the bottom, that it's very full. There's different heights, different type of leaves, and I just think it turned out so pretty. And I didn't even use all of my greenery that I had. I am reusing. I am using this sign that came from Dollar Tree. Now I have used a bow from it and the feet kind of damaged the board, but I didn't want to throw it out. I wanted to still use it for something else. And then I also have these garden stakes that I just had laying around, and I will be using them as well for this little project. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all of this stuff. So first I'm going to cut this to size, and then I'm going to paint it or stain it. I haven't decided yet. And then I'm going to paint this. I know I'm gonna paint this with Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk paint, and I'm not sure if these are gonna get stained or if they're gonna get painted yet. I will make my decision shortly. So I'm going to measure out and cut them before I paint them. No point of painting all of it if I'm going to be cutting it anyways. So these are all cut to size, and now I'm going to paint this. Okay, I'll probably might need 2 coats, but we'll see once it dries. Now for the sticks, I'm gonna use my favorite wood stain color, and it is a dark walnut. I'm just using a rag and rubbing it on. So this has dried, and I'm going to glue these on, and I'm just going to use my hot glue. So that's that, and I'm going to put something in the middle here. So I had printed these 2 writings out, and I'm going to add them to my sign. And I'm also going to add some of these stickers that I had in my scrapbooking stash. I am going to use Mod Podge to glue it. I'm going to go over it just for extra protection. And now onto the back, I'm just going to attach some rope because I'm going to be hanging this outside. I need the rope to be fairly long. I might have to adjust it depending on the height, how long it hangs. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like all hung up. So here it is, all hung up outside on my lamp. And I think it looks absolutely amazing, if I say so myself. I think it looks really good. Today I will be remaking this thrifted wreath that I picked up for $3.99 in Value Village. I really like the form of it, the twigs, but I do not love the florals or the ribbon that's on it, so I will be removing that. For this wreath, I will be using the pussy willows that I had picked up at Dollarama, and I think they were $1.50. And I will be cutting them up and hot gluing them. So I obviously need a hot glue, and then you need some sort of shears to cut the wire off from the pussy willows. So without further ado, I'm going to start assembling the wreath. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take apart the pussy willows. Actually, before I take apart my pussy willows, I will be taking off all of this greenery and ribbon that's glued onto this wreath. I think I'm going to keep these roses for other project. I will be cutting off and making these fairly long before I obviously hot glue them. I will be putting them in a circular pattern, just going and following the pattern all around. And I just attach a little bit of glue at the end and then stick them in. So I have decided to maybe add a little bit of these white branches, decorative branches that I picked up at Dollarama as well, just to add a little bit of a different texture to the wreath, and I'm doing them in the same pattern. So after several hours, I looking at it, I wasn't really happy with the way it worked out, so I ended up snipping the really long ones, and I'm going to reattach them so I make it more thicker rather than wider. So I'll show you what that looks like once I'm done doing that. So here it is, all done. And I like it much better with the shorter branches. So box. For the project you will need several brushes, then you'll need a blue paint and a brown paint, and I'm just using acrylic ones from dollar store. Then some rope. I will not be using all of it, I just need a little piece, a mason jar obviously, and then some baby's breath, and I had picked this one up at Dollarama and they were $1.50 a stem. So this is what a stem looks like. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I am going to paint this whole mason jar with the blue paint. So this is the first coat. It will obviously need several coats, so I'm gonna let that dry. So this had about 3 coats, and I'm going to do some speckling with my brown paint. So it gave me like a speckled look, kind of going for the robin's egg. And now for the top, I'm going to put my jute twine around it. So this is what it looks like now. And then I'm going to add my baby breath flowers. There we go. I think that looks really nice, and I'll show you what it looks like in my decor. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing and pressing the notification bell. Thank you. Here are the materials that I used. The Rust-Oleum forged hammer spray paint to make it look like metal. And then these tin buckets that I picked up at Dollarama for $1.25. They're buckets, planters, not sure what you would call them. Then I also picked up actually I had this foam from Dollar Tree. I like it because it comes in so many small pieces. And also this lavender picks for $1.25 at Dollarama. I picked these up a while ago and finally found a use for them. Well, the way I wanted to use them. And I also used black acrylic paint to prime this tray. I had picked up this tray while thrifting. I had picked it up for $5. And for obvious reasons, I wasn't very happy with the look of it. And you also need scissors, glue gun, I was planning on attaching this to the wall, so some hanging screws and things like that, wire cutters, measuring tape, a hammer, and a paintbrush. So the first thing that I am going to do is I will be cleaning this tray just with like a wet cloth, a damp cloth, not too wet because it is wood, just to make sure that all the little stuff is off of it, if there's anything stuck on it, because I don't want it to show. And then I'm going to primer it with black paint. Put the one coat on because I just want to make sure that it's all the same color, so once I spray paint it, it doesn't go darker on one side and lighter on the other. Once it's dry, I spray painted it, and I just did it until I achieved the desired look. Once it dried, I started gluing the buckets. You want to make sure that the little handles are right in the middle when you are gluing them, so they're not off to the side. I had also measured out to make sure that I'm placing them in the right spots, equal distance from each other. I originally was going to put as you saw, I put the green things in, and then I was gonna just shove the lavender picks in it, but when I did that, I had actually took the bucket off. So what I decided, I re-glued it, and then I ended up putting the picks outside and just placing the whole thing inside. I did not glue the foam to the buckets because I want this to be a piece of decor that I can style for every season, so that way I didn't want these to be permanent, so I can change up for fall colors, summer colors, or whatever I want to do with it. So here it is all done. It was such a simple DIY, but I think it turned out absolutely stunning. I love the way it looks in my dining room, which you will see shortly how I styled my buffet sideboard, with it being the centerpiece of that sideboard. I hope channel. Today I'm going to be creating almost bit of a dupe, but using some trash that I had laying around the house combined with some dollar store materials. So I have these David's tea containers because I love drinking their loose tea, and I always end up with having tons of them. And then I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon, some of this greenery, as well as this basket. Now the basket, the greenery, and the burlap had come from Dollarama. I will also going to be using some black spray paint, as well as black and white acrylic paint and a sponging brush, along with some twine and hot glue. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is spray paint this basket, because I wanted to give it a bit of a rustic look. So I'm going to spray paint it black, but I wanted to tone it down a little bit with some gray. Unfortunately, I didn't have any gray. I only have silver, So I made some gray by combining the white and black acrylic paint. So once I was finished spray painting it, I moved on to sponging the gray paint on before the spray paint even had a chance to dry. That way I can blend it well together. And this gave me that rustic silver aluminum look, to kind of a tin look that I was going for. So I'm super excited because tomorrow actually today, the day that the video goes up, our stay-at-home order has been lifted and we can actually go out to some other stores than just grocery store because they are opening up. They're at a limited capacity, but nevertheless they're opening up. So maybe I'll be able to get more of decorating supplies and some more DIY ideas from all these different decorating stores. So once I was finished with sponging it on, I put it aside to dry and I moved on to my tins. I have so many of these tins and I have done so many different DIYs with them. I can link it all down at the end for you to check out the other stuff that I made using these tins. So for this project, I'm just measuring out my burlap ribbon to see how long I'll need it to go twice around the tin. And then I bought this twine. That was the only twine they had at the dollar store. I think it was in a garden supplies, but it came in this nice little jar, which I thought was kind of cute, and came with scissors that I struggled to use. But anyway, so I measure out my burlap and cut three pieces that are the same length. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. I'm so glad that you stopped by. My name is Sonja and this is my DIY channel where you will find trash to treasure makeovers, furniture upcycles, and dollar store DIYs. So if this is something that interests you, I would love it if you consider pressing the subscribe button and a notification bell and becoming a part of my YouTube family. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your continuing support. It means the world to me. I was wrapping these tins with a double layer because I didn't want any of the stickers to show that are on this tin because they are impossible to take off. So I figured it would be much easier to add the burlap ribbon in a double layer. That way I'm not wasting too much time trying to remove those stickers. Once I was finished with gluing the ribbon on, I moved on to adding a twine. I just wrapped it once around. You can also double up with the twine as well. I think that would look pretty too, but I just went with one layer of twine. And then I also wanted to fold the lip of the burlap on top down, so I gave it a couple slits in two different spots just so I could fold it down a little bit easier, and I think this just gave it a bit of a different look, and I kind of it was a look that I was kind of going for. I forgot to mention that when you're gluing that burlap on, be very careful because with all the holes in a burlap, you can easily burn yourself. So if you have finger protectors or that makeup applicator, use it because otherwise you will burn your fingers. I managed to burn them even with using the applicator. So once my basket was dry and my tins were ready, I just placed them inside and decorated them with the greenery that I picked up at the Dollarama. I absolutely love these picks, greenery picks. I use them all the time in all sorts of different decor throughout my home. I stick them inside garlands, I stick them in vases. I made wreaths with them. They are so versatile and they look so good. And they are only, I think, $1.50 each bunch. And they would also look really good if you're making like a fall herb garden. Some of them look like real herbs, so that would look really, really good too if you don't have enough sunlight to actually have a real herb garden in your kitchen, like myself. So here it is. I think it's going to be a great addition to my spring decor in my home. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I am sharing with you a very simple, easy and inexpensive way to create pillow covers, no-sew pillow covers for any season or any occasion. So I'm starting off with this $4 canvas that a drop sheet that I had picked up at Dollarama, and hot glue. So the first thing that I do is take apart this, open up this canvas obviously, and cut four different, two same sizes and then two other sizes of pillow covers that I want. I am not using a sewing machine, I am just simply using hot glue. So as you can see, this is actually really nice material. I think I had lucked out when I found this because not always do they have this drop sheet, but it worked really well for these pillows. So the two sizes that are the same are going to be 12 by 12, and then the next size is pretty much, I took pillows that I wanted to these covers to be for, and measured them in there around, and then I just cut to the size. But this one I know it was 12 by 12 because I had measured it. I am using my rotary cutter, however it does not work on the little stitched size because it's too thick, so I had to use scissors for that. So once I had everything cut out, I started with the gluing, and you want the outside to the insides to meet together on the inside and the outsides to be on the outside. So whatever side you are using for it to be your front of the pillow, you want it to be facing the inside for when you're gluing it. I hope that makes sense. And I glued 3 sides so that way I can put the pillow in. If you were stuffing the pillow, I would say glue the 4th side halfway and then stuff it, and then glue the rest of the way. Now for one of the 12 by 12 pillows, I just wanted to show you, I am creating almost like a piping border on it with some of this buffalo check fabric that had come from Dollar Tree. I had actually bought a few of these, and then I actually bought some off of my friend too, because she wasn't using them. So I am using about 1 inch for each side, and I'm using these squares to be my guide for that. This took a little bit of figuring out. I did one of these for a Valentine's Day cover pillows last year, so I was just trying to remember how exactly I did it. So you want to glue the material facing down, and the first try I realized I was doing it wrong, so I ended up redoing it because you want it to fold to the middle, not to the outside.
Maybe hold your hand a little while. Somehow I know you're gonna be the girl that I'll end up calling my own. We ride around in style, sleeves rolled up, glasses on, and then you make that smile with my...
And again, I am gluing only the 3 sides, leaving the middle open, leaving the one side open.
Sunshine feels like everything stops for a while when we look into each other's eyes. How could I ever let you go now?
And the other 2 I just assembled the same way as I did the first one. Now moving on with the designing, for 2 of the pillows I used my Cricut machine to cut out the heat transfer vinyl. This was a first time using the heat press and the transfer vinyl. I borrowed the heat press from my sister just to try it out before I go out and buy it. And the design, I will leave a link down below in the description box where I got the design. It was free, but however you had to sign up for an email or something like that. So I love this design. Actually, a friend Sandra from the Shoreline Nest had sent it to me where she got it from, so I just used it, and I love the way it turned out on the pillow. I was struggling a little bit because I thought there was another layer to this, but I could not figure it out. I did end up figuring it out though.
You know I want you close, maybe hold your hand a little while. Somehow I know you're gonna be.
So once I was done removing the vinyl off, I just weeded out the little circles. This was a little tedious, but I did, and it took a little bit of time, but you have to do this with almost all the vinyls that you do. So once you have finished doing that, you want to heat up the mat surface or any surface that you are transferring, that you're putting your material on. You want to heat it up. You want it to be warm. Then I put my pillow cover. I turn it inside out, or the right side in, I guess, and then just set it up where I want it to go, and put my design on it, position it, make sure it's right in the middle, and then I have this sheet to protect the vinyl from melting that I put on top before I start using the press. Voila! Doesn't that look absolutely gorgeous? It was very easy to remove the top of the clear part, and I am absolutely in love with the way this turned out. I think I'll be putting that heat press on my wish list for sure. For the next pillow, I cut out this bunny using a rotary cutter and my fabric, and the bunny was in the crooked axis. I'm pretty sure it was a free image, and I am going to turn this pillow inside out and check out the piping around. I think that looks absolutely fabulous. I love the way it just adds that little extra design to it. And the reason why I'm hot gluing all these pillows, if you watch me here, I often mention it, I do not know how to sew. I'm planning on taking a course once I am able to do it in person. And I had actually sold my sewing machine too because I could not figure it out how to work it. Pretty sure there was something wrong with it. I'm going with that. So I hot glued this bunny on, just slowly working the sides because I didn't want to burn myself. I tend to burn myself often, so I was just going really slowly each side, slowly side by side. This is a very inexpensive way to add pillow covers to your decor. I mean, this whole thing, the material was $4 and I used half of it, if that. The roll of buffalo check was $1.25. I used about half of it. And then the stencil I had, the heat transfer vinyl, the whole roll I think I've paid around $20 for, and then I only used maybe a quarter of it. So I think all in all I spent maybe $4 for the whole 4 pillow covers. So once I glued the bunny on, I wanted to accent it out with a little bit of rope. So I am just gluing rope all the way around the outline of the bunny. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, my name is Sonja, and over on my DIY channel here I create tons of dollar store DIY, budget-friendly DIYs, as well as some furniture upcycles and trash to treasure makeovers. I would love it if you joined my YouTube family, and by pressing that subscribe button and a notification so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. This took a little bit of time to do, but I think it was well worth it. So here he is. I think he looks absolutely adorable, and adding the piping on the sides gave it an extra design. The materials for these DIYs had come from dollar store, Michael's, and just some scraps that I had laying around at home. So let's jump right into it. So this very first one, I am using this frame that I had picked up at dollar store and more. This frame was $3, and as much as I like the farmer's market sign in it, it looked a little messy. And then I used the wooden bunny that was from Dollar Tree, those bunnies that came in a set, and just a piece of scrap material, as well as this poster board. Or is it poster board, construction paper, whatever, either one of those would work. So I cut the board to the size of the frame, and I was trying to use this rotary cutter. I got a new one because our Dollar Trees just started carrying them, and but it wasn't really working, so I ended up just using an X-Acto knife to cut it out. So once I was done cutting it out with the knife, I trimmed it with some scissors, double checked it in a frame, and saw that some of the lines weren't quite straight, so I just trimmed them in my cutter, just that way they are straight and fit perfectly inside the frame. Once I was done with that, I moved on to tracing the bunny in the middle of it, and then just cutting it out with the knife again, kind of creating almost like a stencil look. You could also paint the frame on the inside and then just use the bunny that way, but you'll see that this was, in my opinion, a bit easier and a bit faster to create. So once that was cut out, I just traced the square onto the piece of fabric that I had. It doesn't have to be exactly to fit inside. You just want to make sure that it's big enough that when you do put that frame or that stencil looking bunny that you just cut out, the material fits all in there. So I'm using Mod Podge to glue it on. I put it underneath, then over the top, and then I add the cutout piece of paper inside and go over it a little bit with Mod Podge. Again, I was gonna do the ribbon, but I did not like the way it looked. So for my next project, you will need a box of Kleenex, or you can even use a pillow stuffing, some scraps of material, and some of this raffia. You could also use greenery if you wanted to instead of raffia, or if you could find green raffia would work really well. I could not, so I just used what I had at home. You will also need some hot glue. So the first thing that I do is I just cut the raffia to length, and then I fold it several times and twist it at the bottom and just cut off the folded parts apart, and that's it. You will see what I'll use it for. You probably already know what it's for. And then once that's done and I've created 3 of them, I cut material into squares, the fabric that I had into squares. The one piece of fabric that I was cutting is the drop cloth that I recently just made pillows out of. Make sure you check out that video because those pillows turned out so cute, and I just love them the way they look in my decor. Now with this piece, I wasn't loving that the folded edge was there, so I ended up cutting out another piece. It was just too thick. So once I had cut those into squares, I folded each square inside and created a cone, and then I stuffed that cone with the Kleenex, and then just gave it a little hot glue and added that raffia inside of it. And then I end up using a piece of rope that I just had on hand just to tie the top together. I repeat the same process for the other pieces of fabric.
You know I want you close, maybe hold your hand a little while. Somehow I know you're gonna be the girl that I'll end up calling my own. Can't get enough of this, being with you is like never-ending sunshine. Feels like everything stops for a while when we look into each other's eyes. You go now when you're looking like that. Can't get enough of this. Being with you is a never-ending sunshine. Never-ending sunshine. Times before, baby, it's now or never. Gotta leave this town, and I know what you're asking for. You say it's out of my reach, but I can't reach.
I love the way these carrots turned out. I think they are so much fun and they're gonna look great in my decor. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and if you are brand new, I would love for you to press the subscribe button and a notification button so you don't miss out any of the fun that we have on this channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day.